Hello, Screenranters. My name is Isaac, and this is my editor, Angus. We are Screenrant employees who were recently demoted for accidentally uploading 10 hours of Harry Potter Puppet Pals to the main channel. So now we're in charge of the comment response division. And today we're looking at your answers to the question, what movie do you think deserves its own cinematic universe? All right. Let's jump in. Blaze says, the Raimi, the Andrew Garfield, and the Tom Holland connected universe. We think this is great, especially if it has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Just movies about Sam Raimi, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland going about their days, but we would know they all take place in the same universe. Geek says, Joker expanded to other realistic versions of Batman villains.
This holiday season, from director Martin Scorsese, Tom Hardy is the condiment king.
Eric says, 90s McDonald's characters.
This summer, Ronald McDonald versus Hamburglar, Dawn of Crunchiness.
Liv says, Spider-Man, Shark Boy, the Spy Kids, and Lava Girl should team up. Liz, I'm totally with you. Sadly, Sony passed on my pitch for Shark Boy Into the Sharkverse. I guess the world just isn't ready for that yet. Dragon Boy says, Tom Cruise universe where every version of Tom Cruise joins together and try to destroy themselves doing crazy stunts. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the plot to Oblivion, but I could be wrong. But I think it is. Edro says, I think a badass, modern, cyborg-like Inspector Gadget could be really cool if done right. You know what? We can definitely see it. Dr. Claw would have Inspector Gadget cornered, and Inspector Gadget would be like, oh, these moments lost like tears in the... Just kidding! Go Gadget Hatcopter! And then he would fly away with his flying hat or whatever he has. He has a flying hat, right? Does he have anything? Does he have everything? Can he do any... What are his powers? Saluna says, easily has to be Nintendo. You can make a whole bunch of movies that eventually become Super Smash Bros. And they have to fight the bad guys in those games. Okay, this is actually something that we've thought a lot about. Here is our 5-movie Phase 1 lineup. Ready? Super Mario Bros. Legend of Zelda. Donkey Kong. Metroid. Kirby. I'm curious to know what your picks are, and who would you want to star and direct? I mean, I got a meeting at Sony coming up, so I'm ready to get this thing greenlit. Mr. Doctor says, Kevin Hart. Every movie he's in is interconnected. You know what? This has actually been proven to be correct. They're actually all connected by giant flowing rivers of money. I know it's crazy. Kilgore 3 says, The Cabin in the Woods. Because the plot of that movie will basically bring every single horror movie into one gigantic horror cinematic universe, which would be really awesome. The brilliant thing about Cabin in the Woods was that it created such a clever, expansive universe that most horror movies already feel like they take place in it. Or at least that's what we choose to believe anyway. In terms of sequel potential, an employee of the special effects studio behind the film estimated that more than 60 monster types were created. Based on what we saw in the film, we think a lot of those monsters could sustain their own movies. Mermaid monster movie, anyone?
Oh, come on!
Mr. Phantazemic says, The Mapleton Movie. The Mapleton Movie was a series of movies that my elementary school made and were pretty good. Heck, I've even been in some of them. They don't make those anymore because the school closed. Well, we're actually sorry to hear about your school closing, but if it's any comfort, from now on, the Mapleton Cinematic Universe is the only MCU that we will recognize. Jackson says, The Truman Cinematic Universe. Everyone in Truman's world is being televised in a world outside that, like The Matrix. And Truman has to establish a TV crime-fighting coalition to free humanity. Okay, so Truman would be like, whoa, our world is a TV show and it's being controlled by the man who lives in the moon. Try to realize the truth. There is no moon. We got a lot of comments about the pitch meeting cinematic universe, and we're trying to figure out how that would work. So hear me out. Maybe there would be a writer guy and a producer guy, and they're always arguing, creating conflict? No, they pretty much just always agree, and we'd build a whole cinematic universe out of that? I guess so. That's tight. Oh gosh, why did we think this was a good idea? Owen Mason says, Pokemon. Definitely. Its next film needs to be about Snorlax. That sounds like fun, but if I had been kidnapped and my family went to Detective Snorlax, I would not hold out any hope for being rescued. 9A says, a movie can't have its own cinematic universe. A cinematic universe is a connection between different movies. You know what, you'd think that, but tell that to the ultra successful Dark Universe, which came up with a name, then did a magazine photo shoot, then made one movie that immediately bombed, and then never made another film in that series again. So while technically a cinematic universe is a connection between two films, it can also just be a very expensive photo shoot. At least Universal seemed to have learned their lesson with their approach to the Invisible Man. Play Kid Vid says, the Tom and Jerry cinematic universe featuring Will Smith as Tom and Jerry Seinfeld as Jerry. No offense, Clay, but we feel like you only cast Jerry Seinfeld because his name is Jerry, which makes us wonder where you got Will Smith from. Could we humbly suggest Tommy Wiseau for Tom?
Oh, hi, Mark.
VTJB Productions says, The Love Guru. All of Mike Myers' characters exist within the Love Guru universe. Every studio is in search of the next cinematic universe, but they're ignoring the obvious story. One of a white guru trying to revitalize the love life of the star player of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Folks, it's been in front of our eyes the entire time. Who didn't love the Love Guru?
It's my time to shine!
Oh. Sorry, no one did? Scott Moon says, none. Cinematic universes are ruining the industry and stifling creativity. Oh, really, Scott? Well, why don't you tell that to Sony's Amazing Spider-Man universe, which was supposed to be made up of Spider-Man and a bunch of D-list side characters, each with their own movies. It has persevered to this day with Venom and that weird Jared Leto Morbius thing that, what happened to that? What happened to that movie? So, just goes to show you, don't doubt the power of a cinematic universe. Call Me Charisma says, the Jim Carrey cinematic universe, where all of Carrey's roles are connected or somehow related to each other. Are you suggesting a universe that unites all 63 of Jim Carrey's IMDb acting credits? That sounds like fun. Wait a minute, 63 credits? 60 is 20 times 3? 3 is 3. That's the number 23.
What does it mean?
Benjamin says, Toy Story. And I want the Infinity Saga villain in that cinematic universe to be that bear. You know, the world of Toy Story is rich enough that continuing the story through new toy characters could easily result in more great movies. We don't know if Lotso Huggin' Bear is the ultimate villain though. Maybe it's a toy company executive or factory worker who discovers they can literally create life. RoboGamer says, how about a JCVD universe where each version of him has his genes even higher up his body? Simon Cowell is the villain. I'ma stop you there. You might be the worst fighter in the history of Bloodsport I've ever seen. But Mr. Cowell, I just want to learn the perfect roundhouse kick. Don't you worry, watching your act hurts more than any roundhouse kick ever could. Also, next time you should wear your jeans much higher on your body. That's gonna be a no from me. Ewok says, Mission Impossible, John Wick, James Bond, and Jason Bourne universe crossover, or your mom crossover with your dad. You know what? This epic burn brings back memories. The kids on the playground used to bully me by pitching me cinematic universes too.
Hey Isaac, how about a crossover between your underwear and your head? Summer ripping wedgie.
Gaming Bros says, every Tim Allen character that all at once meets each other for the first time. Yeah, they'd probably all be like, Also, while I was looking for that video, I discovered a YouTube channel where a guy did the Tim Allen grunt every day for almost 3 years. It's not very relevant, I just thought you all should know. Anyway, a Tim Allen grunt, or any single noise, is not enough to sustain an entire cinematic universe. Sergio says, Arnold Schwarzenegger universe where all the Arnolds are running across time and alternate dimensions running around trying to be Arnold. We stand corrected. Emad says, all of Will Smith's characters collide in one universe. Some characters form a truce, some fight each other. They soon realize that they are all the same person. Wasn't that the plot of Gemini Man? Man, what's up with movie stars making movies about fighting younger versions of themselves? Angus says, Mystery Men. Mystery Men is an underrated and much forgotten superhero comedy about a group of hapless and uncool superheroes who have to rise to the occasion after the defeat of their city's best superhero. Their roster includes the Shoveler, who hits people with shovels, the Bowler, who attacks criminals with her magic bowling ball, and the Invisible Boy, who is only invisible when no one is looking. We don't think these spin-offs would make any money per se, but we would definitely go see them. Jonah says, any Pixar movie would do with that. And hey, Pixar could make a prequel to Cars 2. You know what? That's actually a good point. When are they gonna release the movie about the events that led up to Cars 2? Hashtag release Cars 1, guys. Let's get it trending. Garbuzz says, Inception, cause it's gotta be the ICU, and would work on so many levels. Also, the Coen Brothers cinematic universe? It would be amazing, yet impossible to understand. Coen Brothers cinematic universe, also known as Crisis of Infinite John Goodman. Tim says, none. I'd like a return to well-made, unique movies with a beginning, middle, and an end. You know, Tim, we like a lot of cinematic universe movies, but you may have a point here. Studios are rushing to replicate a model that was designed very specifically around Marvel and its characters. In Phase 1, Marvel put together a slate of films that stood alone, but also built to a definitive ending, the first Avengers film. Since then, other companies have rushed to make their own cinematic universes, even if their stories are not built for this comic book movie approach. To address your point specifically, Tim, we agree that the art of the ending has been lost in a lot of big blockbusters. A lot of cinematic universe movies don't end in a satisfying way because they're tripping over themselves to set up 10 other movies. DC movies were received much better when they were able to be their own stories with satisfying conclusions. So maybe this approach will result in more great movies like Birds of Prey and Black Panther, and less disasters like The Dark Universe. Honestly, we'd love to talk more about this, but the end of our argument will take place in our next video as a part of our new comment criticism cinematic universe, or as we like to call it, CCCU. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that one day we can earn our place in the pitch meeting cinematic universe. Until then, the dark universe Angus lives in will have to do. Okay.